যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি আলো না ধরে, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. I hope the audio is coming fine. So I think there have been some changes in the settings of StreamYard, because of which from now on, like we did even yesterday, from yesterday onwards, our StreamYard podcasts are probably going to look like
Radio shows.
Radio shows, and radio shows that you could watch on video, like Sirius XM on YouTube of many MMA commentators and Glenn Beck and stuff. It's going to be like that. And Stephen S. Smith, I'm going to be just looking down and you are going to hear the voice of God, invisible, omniscient. So we have Academic Man with us. Thank you for joining our live stream today, Academic Man.
Yep.
You're not visible, but we can sense you. We can sense your presence right now in our bodies.
After the Charlie Kirk event, I wanted such level of anonymity that, I've faded.
StreamYard cooperated with you.
Yes.
StreamYard is cooperating with you capitalism lovers.
हो सकता है.
But do check some settings on your end, because it was showing that Academic Man is joining audio only. See if there's any settings to do audio plus video. I'm not sure. But yesterday, Navovimars joined pretty conveniently because he has a paid version of StreamYard, like I do. Maybe therefore, for those reasons, you are not being able to, because you are just too poor for surviving in a capitalist StreamYard world. So
not just that. My camera, I've disabled my camera settings for obvious reasons. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's probably the
two agendas to get to. First is a lot of people who are not on Twitter must know about this. There's a guy called Harshil. I don't know what his real name is. Probably real name only. Twitter handle called Harshil Mehta.
Yeah.
Okay. Harshil Mehta was fighting almost a lone battle with some IITs, or specifically IIT Bombay, I think. And firstly, Academic Man will tell us what was up with that story. That is a fascinating story. I've only caught parts of it. Every part of that story is incredible and almost unbelievable. But people in the academia, people like Academic Man, know that these things have been going on for long. But this guy has been fighting a battle. I don't think he'll come out on the winning side, because there's much bigger geopolitics and global cash into play here. But he is putting up a pretty strong fight, and there are going to be some consequences out of as a result of his battle. And secondly, we will discuss basically how to guidebook sort of a thing about how to prevent your kids from becoming left-wing fascists and who become future killers, etc. once they enter colleges and universities. First, what's up with Harshil Mehta's fight with IITs?
Left-wing nut jobs ही बोल दे भाई. मुखे आस्चे जोकोन. Anyway, so okay, with respect to Harshil, right? I was not aware of his account actually till a month back almost. Till somebody sent me some tweets, and there he started showing, exposing a lot of academics within the IITs, right? Especially IIT Gandhinagar, who have been doing these weird topics. No, actually not weird when, because I know about them, but a lot of normal people don't know. Like non-academics don't know about this stuff. Like, I don't know, the greatness of Sufism, the tyranny of Indian nationalism in Kashmir, Islamic theology and its benefits to mankind. Then all kinds of stuff like human rights and citizenship in India, basically justifying illegal immigration from Bangladesh. All these kinds of research is going on within the IITs. This is not something I was unaware of. I was very much aware of this kind of research, and we have spoken about it in the past. But the fact is that by exposing, like, Harshil is doing what actually I was talking about a long time ago, maybe with you or somebody else, where he takes the research of these people and actually tells people, the taxpayers of this country, that देखो तुम्हारे टैक्स से क्या हो रहा है. What is your tax doing in IITs, IIT like Gandhinagar, Delhi, Bombay, this, that, whatever. And is this the kind of research, when you pay tax and you expect the government to help develop this country, the roads, infrastructure, medicine, whatever, research, jo bhi ho, all this stuff that you're paying taxes for, all of us are paying taxes for, indirectly or directly, are we asking for PhD thesis and research in the arts and humanities? Number one, are we even asking for arts and humanities research? Okay. Number two, let's say we are asking for arts and humanities research. Are we asking for arts and humanities research that abuses us, the taxpayers, calls us racists and bigots and casteist and all that stuff? And is it justifying a foreign agenda? Right. So these all things were exposed by Harshil through what he did was very clever. Instead of actually shouting at the top of his lungs, what he did was he took screenshots of all the research and he started putting them slowly on Twitter, and people just started going bonkers. Yare, ye sab ho raha hai. And he is simply asking कि भाई, firstly, technical institutes like IIT, JNU में ही research होता है, फिर भी मान लेंगे. Okay, JNU is not an IIT. JNU was created for to fund this kind of crap. IITs, which were created to fund the next generation of technological CEOs and all these people, entrepreneurs and programmers and engineers and all these people, and overall excellence in the MIT model. Is this the kind of research that taxpayers are funding these institutes for? Where free mein baith ke 5 saal se people are getting stipends of 40,000-50,000 a month to produce this kind of crap at the expense of the taxpayer. So once he started exposing this, then a whole barrage of things happened, and some news channels also picked it up, and he started writing in CNN, IBN, and all these places, and he even went on Narsiman's show. Narsiman ya uska naam kya hai? Haan. So he went on that guy's show and he had a bit of a debate. Although again, because the lack of humanities background, that he doesn't really come from a humanities background like I do, right? Or even you do. So I think his argumentation fell a bit short despite his good intentions. When people were saying, is humanities a net negative? And he could not answer that carefully. He could not answer that properly. I would have said, yes, humanities education in India is a net negative presently. Firstly, because it highlights Brahmanical patriarchy, does not highlight other forms of patriarchy in the country or abroad. Highlights caste, does not highlight race and other forms of caste in Islam and Christianity and all that. It highlights the plight of Kashmiri minorities and all, but it does not highlight the minorities of Pakistan, Bangladesh, even parts of India like West Bengal and even Assam and Kerala and all these places. It does not it talks about Gujarat riots all the time, but there is not one thesis, I think, on political violence in West Bengal. Okay. And even if like it's an outlier of a topic, basically. Although every every few years, as we all know, a few hundred people die in every panchayat election and all. So, and these are all mostly lower caste and Muslims, their favorite people. So my point is that why? So then, taking these points into account, the humanities as a general, the way it is being practiced in India, in the central funded institutes, is a net negative. There is no proper academic production, and it does not serve the taxpayers or governments or states' interest in any way. Now you can say, okay, knowledge is free. Why should it fund why should it be the agenda of the taxpayer, right? But the taxpayer is paying for it. Every form of research is paid for by someone, right? No research is research in and of itself. We're not Socrates and Plato that we're sitting around and chatting, and that is called research. We are doing, all of us who do research, any of us who do research, including the sciences and management and STEM fields and arts, somebody is footing the bill. Now, if Ratan Tata pays for my research, obviously I will say that, okay, Tata is a great man. इसीलिए तो लोग research करते हैं, what you call Brahman Bhojan, right? Now if the taxpayer of India is footing my bills as a researcher, then he or she should get the best benefits out of this research. This research that the IITs and all are producing, or even other universities that are central and state funded, these universities are basically abusing the same taxpayer who is funding their research. And that's the whole point, that do the taxpayers of India deserve better? Yes. Who will get it? I don't know. Is this research a net negative to India and its taxpayers and its people and citizens? Yes. So yeah, that was my whole point. I think
IIT Bombay, as a response to Harshil's attacks, IIT Bombay did, among other things, did one insane weird thing. They blocked Harshil on Twitter.
Yep, and they unblocked him like
university. I think 2-3 days later.
Yeah, and
the
this
guy
shows
who runs
that
the guy who runs the IIT Bombay Twitter handle, is that guy possibly a student in the university, or he is some PR manager or something, or
staff
HR?
भी हो सकता है, कोई भी हो सकता है. These universities, I'll tell you how these universities function. They have a lot of these useless departments, including the IITs, by the way. ऐसा एक अजीब डिपार्टमेंट खोल देंगे, वहां पे 3-4 प्रोफेसर रख लेंगे, ठीक है? And all of this is internally, people who get jobs here. So let's say when you apply for a job in a company, right, in a private corporate company, let's say you apply in, I don't know, some Tata company or whatever, who is going to take who is going to decide whether you keep the job or have the job? The HR and the managers and all these people, right? And here in these public funded institutes, what happens is usually the norm was that you would sit for an exam, you would have a few relevant degrees, and because the taxpayer is funding your job, there is a level playing field, at least on paper, right? There is a level playing field where you are employed based on your academic performance and stuff like that. But now what happens is, basically there is a complete lack of transparency as to why and how people are getting these jobs. And there are instances of where people get employed simply because they were a student in the institute and they got married to the professor and then they became a professor there and stuff like that. Okay. So in that way, we can see how these public funded institutes are becoming, but the corporate way, if let's say you and I open a company tomorrow and we take our friends in the company, because it's our private money, nobody can tell us shit, right? That's the whole point. Now, if you have your own private institute and you decide, okay, I don't know, Nandini Sundar will be our head of the department and Romila Thapar will teach history and Irfan Habib will teach history. Nobody can say anything because it's your money. But when you do the same with the taxpayers' money, and these are not even people who pretend to be neutral like Irfan Habib or Romila Thapar, these people are outright, these days the humanities sections, they are outright political. पहले तो थोड़ा बहुत मतलब लाज शर्म रखते थे, like even if you're a card carrying communist, you would say okay, but let's pretend to be neutral. And honestly, you've read Irfan Habib's papers and stuff, and Irfan Habib sometimes did say neutral stuff, right? Even Robila Thapar, from what I've read, has said neutral stuff. पहले फिर भी एक थोड़ा बहुत न्यूट्रलिटी का वो था. आजकल thanks to postmodernism in the foreign institutes, people are openly professing their politics. People are like, I hate this, I hate Hindus, I love Islam, I love this, I love communism, this, that. Okay. It's as simple as that. And that is where the quality of academia has also fallen, number one. Number two is that the level of academics has also fallen. And worst part is that government money has increased in academia. Like after Modi government came, they actually increased the stipend of GRF scholars. They actually increased the, the salaries of these professors and stuff.
Then
Right.
why do I keep hearing every now and then from researchers from all fields, from social science as well as STEM, that there's not enough money for research? What's that all about then?
Bhai, I'll give you an example. Okay, when the Congress was in power, your stipend, GRF stipend was around 20,000. Okay.
Okay.
And right now it is 42,000 or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
हाँ, double हो गया, 10 साल में double हो गया. And for the longest time it was 20K. So in the STEM thing, I don't know, STEM may you need money because you are in a lab and you need equipment and this and that, whatever. I can still understand that part. But in arts and humanities, you don't need fund. How much money does an arts and humanities guy? You need 40,000
field work and ethnography and just for survival. Right?
I'll tell you what, field work is shit. I'll tell you what. I know a bunch of people, and I can't name names, right? Because they might file a case or whatever. In the field work of arts and humanities, I'll tell you what they do. They go once to the field. Okay, so let's say a lot of people do research on Shonagachi prostitutes. Okay, so and all kinds of, I personally know 4-5 people who have worked on prostitutes. Okay, मतलब और कुछ नहीं मिलता है, मतलब देश में इतना प्रॉब्लम है, इतना ये है वो है, सब उनको प्रोस्टिट्यूट के ऊपर रिसर्च करना है, तो करो, ठीक है. So in a state where political violence is rampant, they decide to do this. Anyway, so they go to the Shonagachi once or twice. They find one person who can speak nicely. They use that person to get fake interviews from everybody else, or they will take 4-5 interviews once in a while, and then they will make उन 5 interviews से वो 10-20 interview बना लेंगे. Okay. And then they will just juxtapose like hundreds of theories like Judith Butler and this and that, and I keep forgetting those gender people. Judith Butler is the only one that comes to my head right now, because I stopped reading that gender crap a long time ago. So Beck and Beck Gernsheim, all these people, okay, some stupid names, some white people who wrote crap like gender is fluid and stuff. So they will cite all this crap and कुछ ऑपरेशन, स्टेट ऑपरेशन हिंदू ब्राह्मणिकल लेंस घुसा देंगे उसमें, और कुछ फ्रॉइड वाइड घुसा देंगे, and they will write 50 papers on this same crap topic. Okay, and nobody cites them. Their friends cite them sometimes, and that's about it. They'll have maybe 10 citations, but it's useless. Like if you ask me what this is bringing to this country, then it's bringing nothing to this country. Okay. And that is the whole point. Like their research is useless. So why should the taxpayer keep funding? STEM में पैसा घुसा दो. At least in STEM. Okay, even in STEM, I have some things that I know that there is a lot of crappy research done by STEM people. Okay, it's not like only arts people are doing crappy research.
Yes.
STEM वाले इतना घटिया नहीं करते, लेकिन घटिया करते हैं फिर भी. Okay, then what can you do? In the US, private firms fund research in the STEM fields.
Yeah.
And even arts research is funded many times by private players.
Yeah.
वही कर दो. Because if Tata, Adani, Ambani are paying for your research, then they will ensure that if they want you to cure cancer, you will cure cancer. Rest assured. Okay. If they want a certain outcome from research, they will get the research. And that will be a useful thing. As we know that without capitalism, a lot of good technological advancements that we have would not have been possible. Government research never really goes beyond a point unless they're whipping people in like Stalinist Russia and or Nazi Germany and telling them to produce a alternative for Fanta, okay, or Coke. So that's the whole point. Like unless there is some pressure for a researcher to perform, just like any other field, they will not be able to perform, right? And they won't perform because these jobs are essentially like almost like government jobs. So 5 साल बैठ के पैसा लो, produce maybe 2-3 papers, 5 chapters, meaning basically two chapters a year if you're that good, okay, and for that you are getting paid 40K a month, and that is the biggest issue here. My point is decentralize all research, defund all research. That's my point. If the country and the people and the economy want some kind of research, they will pay for it and get it. Research. You are not making somebody. You are not a gift of God that you are finding something great. If you have the brains, you will get funded by Tata, Birla, Ambani, Adani, koi bhi hai. They have all think tanks. They have all science-based जो लोग काम करते हैं. They all have their field of research labs and everything. Okay, they can fund it. Anyway, that's extreme. But as long as the taxpayer is funding, at least taxpayer को तो गाली मत दो. You are abusing the taxpayer while he or she is funding your research.
Okay, Bakurabashi, we will get to your question in the second half of the live stream today. First, we are discussing specifically what's going on in the IITs. So, I'll have to play devil's advocate, and I think some of the questions I'm about to ask are even legitimate questions that would be asked by a leftist at this point of our discussion, based on the stuff you have said. First is if that is the criteria that because you are funded by the taxpayers, you cannot write anything against the taxpayers, then how do we solve any problems? How do we discuss any problems faced by anyone? Let's say prostitutes are actually facing some problems, therefore they also need some research. Or even if it is research discussing some oppression faced by the Muslims of Kashmir, they are also taxpayers. So where do we draw the line about, okay, you are not supposed to criticize this group because they pay our taxes? And secondly, which topics will be decided that, okay, they are nationalist enough to be funded? And what would be the marker for that? Who would decide it, etc.?
Okay. Thanks for these annoying questions, I'll answer them.
Yeah.
Look at it this way. You remember, you watched Good Will Hunting, I'm sure. Okay. There's some that bar scene where the guy keeps talking about some, slavery economics and stuff like that, and to shame Ben Affleck, and then white savior. This one comes. Matt Damon comes, and he says that, okay, this, and next year you lead that, so then your views will change completely, and you have no original thoughts after spending thousands of dollars. And that's my whole point. Arts research can be done in a library. Public, what does arts research entail? Basically, reading a bunch of books, going out into the field occasionally, and writing some essays, right? That's what it entails. So if the government really wants to create a change, they can have public funded libraries. Why? What the hell are university structures even going to achieve in that? Apart from that's one point. If you are really, let's say you are really concerned about the caste composition of Tollywood, okay? And you decide that I want to write a paper. You as a college dropout will not get funding for PhD. Simple as that. But you have access to the internet, you have access to libraries, public and private libraries. You can go to Ramakrishna Mission, sit with a bunch of books and papers and finish your research. It will cost you 5,000, 15,000 rupees for life membership. I don't see why you should be treated any different from a guy who's doing his PhD officially. If you have brains, you have studied, you have read a few hundred papers and books, right, in your life till now. Where did you get them? Did you have to go to university and actually find these resources? No. So arts research can be done from from your home. It doesn't, especially after the internet, it can definitely be done at home, right? So why are universities even existing? That's the that's the question. The universities have always existed to further the state's interests. Okay. Any state will have any kind of political interest. So let me give you guys a real, not a shocker. I think you guys know this, but I think a lot of people won't know this. So in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, so in the 50s, 60s and 70s, right? I can't stop laughing at the comment anyway. The area studies programs in the American universities, which were really well funded. Why were they well funded? Right? They were well funded by the American state because they got American students, they got knowledge about China, India, Vietnam, Cambodia, all these places, Africa, Middle East. They have all these departments in Yale, Harvard, MIT, and all these places. Okay, these are all area studies departments. Now, why do you need an area studies department? Why does an American university need to understand Indian caste system, right? Why do they need to understand Vietnamese social structure? Why do they need to understand China's economy and society? Why do they need to understand Japanese society, right? Why? Because the more knowledge you have, the better control you have of those societies. The better discourse you can formulate about those societies. So when they say dismantling Hindutva, when they say dismantle, whatever, Hinduism or whatever, global Hindutva, global caste, whatever crap they're coming up with these days, what they're basically doing is they've studied you for 50, 60 years. They have people who have given them knowledge about your society, and now they have some understanding of how to either keep this society intact or destroy this society. So universities were never places for absolute free engagement and learning and all these things, right? Universities were mostly created to further the ruling elites ka agenda in many ways.
How much what kind of funding? Yeah, go on.
And that's still the case. That's my point. Yeah.
What kind of funding did people like Max Weber and Emil Durkheim have? Because they didn't even have ChatGPT. And okay, Max Weber is kind of criticized by even leftists, so he's hated. So maybe his research is irrelevant, quote unquote, irrelevant today. But even Emil Durkheim's stuff on suicide or elementary forms of religious life. How was he doing that research?
Okay, very interesting point that you raised. Two interesting reasons. I was in a seminar recently where I cited Weber in my research, and somebody said, "Can we, have some global South scholars?" Okay, I love Weber. Okay, and I see Weber applicable 100% most of the time, right? And they're outright. They're just these days these universities in the US and UK and all. They're just outright saying that are white people, let's just kick them out. Okay. Max Weber was a genius. He could have been white, African, Indian, whatever, I don't care. But these days, he was, these days, they are just hating on white people. They're just hating on Weber or Durkheim and all these people. Okay. So, okay, now I just made that point because I remembered it. Now, here comes the answer to the question. I think Professor Babones has given a great answer here, that these were historically state positions. But again, having said that, I think that when we're talking about in the late 19th century, early 20th century and all this, these people, the people who were professors, who had to actually undergo rigorous training in their life. Not these days when you can just claim a gender and write some essays and get a job. These people, they were sometimes critical, but their position was tenured, and they were provided positions because they had to prove their competence in front of a lot of people, which included a lot of state authorities. So again, even if there was state control, these people had to prove their merit and do a lot of things. And sometimes they were actually, sometimes they were opposed to the prevailing, political currents, and sometimes they were, therefore, they were, they faced problems in their lives, and sometimes they didn't. That's your luck. That's a different thing. But again, even back then, when these European professorships that Professor Babonas is pointing out, even those professorships, they were actually a product of political will in those states. They weren't just coming out of nowhere, because the universities were either funded by some private taxpayer, some private landowners and all, who gave lands to these universities to collect income from there, or they were either provided for by the church, or they were churches that eventually became secular centers of learning, and they either these, or they were just created by the state, or they were taken over by the state, and then the state said, okay, bro, do this kind of research, I like this, whatever crap. And people like Marx and all were there as well, who were funded. Remember, Marx was funded by Engels, who was the son of a businessman, right? So somebody, like, there's always a daddy, like, who's your daddy? That's always true for academics, right? Now, that's the whole point, that some funding comes, and unless at the point of academic neutrality and the point of there being criticality against the, let's say, the prevailing sentiment, let's say, right?
Yeah.
These things again, they basically point out to how foreign interests are working. So let's say I'm sitting in a Chinese university, right, under the Chinese government. Can I write about human rights atrocities sitting in China? I doubt it. Okay. Can I write about human rights atrocities of Saudi Arabia, let's say, or Dubai, sitting in a university of Dubai or Singapore? I can't. There are strict rules against these things in some countries.
In some countries, not
in some countries, yes. This is where perhaps we and America are the same. Where America, in America university, you can sit and abuse white people all your life while you are being funded by white people. Okay. Now here's the other thing. In America, your research will typically be funded by some private donor individuals or alumni or university people or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
In America, universities receive a lot of private funds. So if let's say, if your research is being paid for by China and you write pro-Chinese stuff, I get it. But in India, sitting in an IIT or an IIM or a JNU or a DU or a JU, then if you're saying that these people are annoying, their castes, they're assholes, whatever, and by default everybody else is better, then what happens is you are basically going against the same people who are funding your research. So even then, even if we take the American model into account, this does not really make sense for us. Tomorrow, if some foreign government that is opposed to us, let's say Pakistan, opens an institute, and we don't know that it's Pakistan opening an institute somewhere. I don't know. Pakistan doesn't have money to open institutes. The institutes they open aren't really, research institutes per se. So let's say America decides that, okay, we will fund anti-India research inside India. So they will then probably donate millions of dollars and open a very nice institute where they will take in all the anti-India elements, and then they will, your this thing. You can do a lot of this kind of whatever the research is, the agenda is. You just keep doing that. But in India, that's the whole problem. That we don't the salary that's the point that Professor Babonas has raised, that arts and social sciences research isn't funded as such. You get your salary and research what you want. True, that is quite true. But then the state does have agendas when they put in certain professors in certain universities. So if they know that, okay, Professor Babonas is going to do this kind of research and we like his research, let's put him at the head of the department of, let's say, JNU, then that will happen. That's in the state's hands, right? And then he can do free research, whatever he wants. They say, okay, we like academic managed research, and they put me somewhere, then I'll keep doing that research. But this kind of agenda is already established. So they typically what they have done is they will give you the job depending on your previous research or your ideology or your associations. If let's say you tomorrow you can decide to get a PhD, you can do a master's degree and PhD, right? Tomorrow again, you can do it. Now, if you do that and somebody checks out your channel and says that, okay, this guy is a BJP stooge, okay, you will not get a job in most universities. Unless, some BJP guys actually simp for you, Modi ji writes a letter, okay, this guy is nice, take him in. You might get, but typically you wouldn't. Okay. Because the institutes, the people running the institutes, the administrators, the people in power, the politicians, most of them are against what you are saying. So even if there is no overt funding per se, the channeling of taxpayer money is based on your existing existing ideology per se.
Okay.
And
now Now we'll have to touch upon that age-old debate. It's not age-old really. It's about, I think, a 20, 30-year-old debate, 20-year-old debate maybe. That should the scholar be an activist scholar or should he be the dispassionate observer like Professor Babonas here? In fact, my real question here is that we have had activist scholars for about 30, 40 years now in India. Now, as a countermeasure to that, at least, do we now need dispassionate observers like Babonas, or do we need the counter hegemony thing and push activist scholars of a different kind now?
I mean, this is the whole problem where I personally would prefer descriptive research. I myself do descriptive research. I don't like prescriptive research. I find it shallow and useless in the long run. Having said that, here's the fun thing. I got to know recently that in China, in the 1930s, the sociology department, where there was a professor and then he married his student who became a professor in the department, they led rebellions against the Chinese government of the time. Okay. These were sociology professors, right? And I think we can do, I mean, you and Madam Political Scientist can do a show on this. There's this movie I was watching, The Painted Wheel, VIL, where they refer to these disturbances happening in China in the 1930s. Now, this is the power of activism in academia, where a sociology professor and his wife can influence hundreds and thousands of people in a country to rise up against capitalists and basically screw the capitalists. Mao was a university librarian. So the whole point here being that whether we should tolerate activists in academia. Now, the problem is not having activists. Activists will always exist. Activists have existed. The Hindutva Brigade has activists. Many left-wing people have activists. Congress is also activists. I don't know for what reason. But anyway, TMC also has activists, as we know. Now, every party has activists, and activist ka tum activists have a job. They simp for a certain ideology. They work to establish their regime and all that. So I get that. But when it comes to a university, this is the problem. There is an expectation of fairness. There is an expectation of there being challenges to your ideas. Why then go to a university? If the government had to just give us certain ideas, we could have a 1984 style indoctrination camp thing, right? Why is a university important? Because a university is also a place where your ideas can get challenged in a logical manner. So a Thomas Sowell can walk into a classroom and give a lecture. Nowadays he can't, because it's so bad, the situation, right? He can get shot, God knows. But earlier, a Weber and a Marx, even a Weber and I don't think Marx would have been open to that debate that much. I mean, he did go against Hegel and all of these people. But I don't know, even I'm hoping that maybe Marx would be open to debate. But the main thing is that the lack of debates in academia is because we put too many activists inside it who cannot tolerate any other view in academia or any other place, in society and academia.
Now, speaking from the POV of a hypothetical activist scholar, why shouldn't he or she just pursue research in a way that they can solve the problem, not just wait and observe and give someone else the data? Because if he or she is actually noticing and observing some injustice going on in society, why shouldn't they take part in solving the problem? Why not solve the problem of Muslims in Kashmir and prostitutes in Kolkata?
Well, if we're asking these questions, then okay, great. If you're again, that's my point. I am an ethical person. If you're paying me, if tomorrow you're paying me, I will promote your music. I'll promote your podcast. I'll promote you. If I take money from a source, I just can't see myself going against the same people who are funding my research and livelihood. But a lot of people can, because they are trained that way. And it's just a matter of ethics really at this point. And then, but the question arises that if these ethics have been destroyed, if academia is such that there is no counter view to what the left or what the what these people are saying, then why should the taxpayer should also say, okay, if you do your activism here, then I'll just stop funding this crap. The activism can also come from the taxpayer, right? The activism does not, only academics cannot be taxpayers. I am also an activist. Let's say you are an activist actually, right? In your own way. Now, see, you are a libertarian activist. Now you can say, okay, bro, I don't like what's happening in a university as a taxpayer, and I don't like this shit. So stop it. There is expectation. There can be expectation of change and reform from every side. You can't sit in a university and act like you're superior to everyone because you have a PhD, right? Although here's the problem with society and human nature, that if you happen to have a PhD and all these, whatever is necessary, by that logic, you do get to act like you are superior to people. And that's the other problem, that universities and academia are, like I keep saying, are highly elitist spaces. They are not egalitarian spaces. They are places of power structures. They are enforced hierarchies that are often backed by the state, right? And if you take that into account, then that's the bigger issue here. That today a college dropout like yourself has viewers, has some respect, but can you like if you go to Jadavpur to do a debate like Charlie Kirk, firstly you get beaten up. I know for sure. Secondly, and as we know, you don't want that right now again. So let's not go into that. Firstly, you'll be beaten up. Secondly, if you go into Jadavpur and do say that, okay, dude, I wanna debate you, they're just gonna say one thing. They're gonna say, oh, do you even deserve to be a security guard here? What are your credentials? What are your degrees? So in that sense, you have to say that you have to understand that this is a deeply divided casteist kind of space where your identity, almost similar to your birth identity, is going to be a deciding factor whether you will be able to participate in the debate or not. Which is why Jadavpur University chance pe dekha is a meme now. Whenever you talk against these people, against the leftists, they'll be like, did you even get a seat in Jadavpur or presidency? If you didn't, then you can't talk. You have to be an elite of a high level to debate these people.
Yeah. Now playing devil's advocate again, how is that different from the other side saying that, okay, other side at one point saying that, so everyone can't read Vedas, etc. Everyone can't be taught Vedas. And even today, people saying that Rumila Thapar and Irfan Habib can't comment on anything Indian because they don't know Sanskrit. And people who do know Sanskrit also debate amongst themselves that, okay, this text from this publisher is the right one. And other people say, no, this text from some other publisher is the right one. So who really gets to comment on anything?
Well, it's the authorities, the prevailing authorities, whoever they are. Now, if you ask me whether when we're dealing with, let's say, if somebody has the right to comment on something, then it has always been historically whoever has dominated the power structure of the time. So let's say right now, you can, thanks to the internet, thanks to the change in government of the last 10, 15 years or whatever, people are actually challenging Rumila Thapar thanks to the decentralization of the internet, right? But such is not the case when you go to an era before the internet. It's the internet that has actually brought about all these changes. Earlier, you couldn't even imagine having these debates in the open, right? The way you and I are talking. It's only because of the internet that Harshil is able to expose the IIT Gandhinagar people or whoever. It's because of the internet. Because again, the internet is doing what universities were actually supposed to do: have debates. The internet is still, you are still able to have some debates on the internet, which was practically impossible in the age before the internet and still impossible in certain universities. And I think Charlie Kirk died trying to kind of preserve that debate space.
Professor Babunath is saying, who needs Sanskrit? The ancient language of India is Tamil, obviously.
I've never understood this debate where why a language should be superior if it's older. I don't know. I've never understood that.
One argument would be that if it's older, it means it has survived for longer, and if it has survived for longer, then it means there, मतलब उनमें कुछ दम है, कुछ बात है, in the speakers of that language.
No, I can understand the indigenous argument that, okay, Tamil was an indigenous language, Sanskrit was imposed by Brahmin Aryan invaders. I can understand that part. But if Tamil is older, so what? Like, I mean, how does that change my life? So anyway, okay, let's move on. From this great topic.
Next is then, if IITs are going on with these professors, they are going to go on for the foreseeable future, and we are going to have branches of Harvard, Oxford, etc., NYU, maybe, and even people like Ankit Shah, who are proponents of Sanatan temperature in ACs, even they admit that we are not going to be able to prevent wokeism in Indian campuses for now. Then how do we prepare our kids and the next generation, people who are in the colleges right now, especially people who do come from quote-unquote non-left backgrounds or dharmic backgrounds? How are they going to be protected from the insanity of Marxism? And can they be protected? And do you think we are taking the problem a little too seriously? Because after all, Trump has won. After all, they are going to be defending a lot of their own wokeism. So maybe the trickle-down effect happens here. So not enough wokeism trickles down here. Is the problem probably gone for now? Is the fight going to be easier for now?
Okay. Firstly, let me answer your last question and then go to the first ones. Is wokeism going to go away? No. It's never going to go away because it's always existed, right?
Yes.
And why? because there has always been a section of people, there will always be a section of people till the end of humanity who are going to oppose the mainstream, who are going to oppose the, yes, exactly, who are going to oppose the, people in power, who are going to do it even for, even for the, just for the heck of it, just for the kicks, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and good night, Professor Babonas. Anyway, so the thing is that if we look at it, wokeism cannot be defunded by one president or even a few. Because firstly, it's the wokeism is not funded by the president. Trump or the central government of America does not fund these universities in the first place. They have their hedge funds, they have their own like crazy amounts of money from alumni and foreign institutes and donations and this and that, who actually decide what goes on in the university. So Trump may stop this crap. Trump may do some steps against them, but it won't stop so easily. Number one. Number two is Trump se pehle bhi, Trump ke baad bhi, again, in India, wokeism had its own forms. Gender theory, Brahmanical patriarchy, all of these things were funded by the state. Now you may ask why the state funded all this, because in my view, we were always a neo-colonized region. India was a neo-colonized country, right? Why is that? Because, we were basically a dumping ground for Russian technology, and our professors sometimes used to go there for whatever meetings, this, that, our intellectuals spoke in favor of their dominant ideology. Our films and everything were made to kind of keep their ideas afloat among the public, to entrench the ideas of socialism and egalitarianism and gender and all that stuff in our minds. So we were a neo-colonized region. So our government ended up funding the very thing that went against it. Okay. Now, if we go into all that, we can see that it's not just Trump or Modi who can determine all this. The rot is so deep that people expect socialism to fix everything. And this is not the US, where you can say that let's defund academia, let's defund healthcare, and people will agree with you for a number of reasons. Because in America, even the poorest people, they think about things like, why the free market is better, why government subsidies are bad, why competition between market firms are good. Even like the poorest people in America, they think about these things sometimes. Maybe not the poorest. Right now there's a fentanyl crisis, so they're pretty much hammered there. But if you go to the lower middle classes and stuff, they are pretty well aware of these ideas, right? They debate these ideas, whether more government is better or less government is better. Here, the default is more government. Right? Here, the default is ki bhai, government must solve this issue. Government, if you put a better administrator or a better chief minister, things will be solved tomorrow.
Or even the worse idea that have a oversight committee for the administrator, and an oversight committee for the oversight committee, and then another oversight committee for the oversight committee who will do the oversight committee for the administrator. Then everything will be over. Then everything will be solved.
Exactly. And that's the whole point, that in India, we're so used to socialist ideas. Like even BJP, the so-called right-wing parties, is socialist. Every party that we talk about is socialist. Right? And the solutions are also socialist. So if Tata goes, they're like, so what? Like tomorrow we can open some state-funded thing, right? And Tatas were welcome only because the CPIM brought in the Tatas. They don't understand that if you had a more open market situation, a free market situation, Tatas could have just anyway bought land and started the factory here. So all of the basic ideas that percolate inside the Indian mind are socialist because they are deliberately so. They have been made into this way for 80 years, right?
So yes,
Now,
so wokeism is not going away anytime soon.
wokeism is not going away anytime soon. Now, you asked me that, okay, then how do dharmic parents, how do people who are interested in their children's education and all that stuff, what they're learning in school, how do we
Okay, I need
change
to
them?
ask something as a caveat before this, because a lot of our STEM viewers, STEM field student viewers, say that the problem is not that big in their colleges, in their STEM fields, etc. So, which colleges do you think the problem exists even in the STEM fields? It's probably only the IITs and the big ones, right? And if so, are they
No, no,
better
no,
off
no.
now, the STEM fields?
Okay, now here's the thing. I don't know of some random college in, I don't know, Chhattisgarh or something, but I have seen some of the top colleges and institutes, and I see wokes everywhere. Okay,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
see I see wokes in. I've seen complete woke people in Maharashtra. I'm sorry to disappoint M Shastri. Go to IIT Bombay and see people like Rowena Robinson. You don't know what I mean. Okay. Go to Delhi University. You'll see what I mean. Huh? Go to ICERs, NICERs, all these. Yeah, exactly. All these institutes, you go to you don't even have to go to the humanities department sometimes. You'll see bloody physics professors teaching socialist crap. Okay. Or what happens is sometimes these teachers have unions, students have unions, where they give ideas of socialism. Like, see, more government funding is necessary to help in this direction. Okay. Uh, we have so many, like, मतलब इतना जगह पे wokeism होता है that we forgot where it doesn't happen. Okay. And you see, any government institute will have some kind of some kind of union में वही सिखाएंगे कि capitalists are bad and professors in these colleges are good and they must know your welfare better than the capitalists. So Adani Ambani bad, etc. So that's the whole problem. That if you see this, wokeism is everywhere, and even in STEM universities, STEM institutes, you will find them in some form or the other. Huh. And Harshil is actually showing that on your face that it's even there in IITs. IITs में लोग सोचते थे only Sundar Pichai type people come out. Now they're seeing all kinds of weirdos come out of IITs, right? So that part is
Now,
there.
Buddhadev Bhattacharya archive is pointing out an interesting thing, that you can be woke and also do relevant research on work in industry. Actually, it's actually a fair point, but the problem is that when you are woke, then your relevant research is not going to come in the benefit of the country, because wokeism in general is not good for the country. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe we can appreciate you while you are doing the research, but when you come out of the college, you're going to demand for other such bullshit stuff and bad stuff and evil stuff, that your research itself is going to be irrelevant. Now, so
M. Shastri
how do
mentions
people
TIS
from
here. TIS is still quite woke too. I mean, you guys don't know these spaces like I do. Trust me, I've never met a non-woke person from TIS. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
M. Shastri,
Uh,
see, every day we get into the same debate with M. Shastri. Let's just get our criterion for woke or non-woke university is clear. If you declare a university or institution to be not woke, show me non-woke or anti-woke research from that university. Okay? Otherwise, you are wrong. Has TISS come out with research showing political violence in West Bengal, or how unions are bad for the economy? Have they?
yep.
Have they done one single non-woke research or anti-woke research? Then what is the definition of them getting cleaned up? Hulk, no, your
And that's the other
comment is
point.
irrelevant, so we'll
That's
take it
I
up
think you
when
raised
it's
a.
when we are free. Yeah, go on.
I think you gave a very good point that let's say you do replace a lot of people in Delhi University, which the Modi government has tried to do. Even then, does the research language become such that it is helping the country? It is helping the people of the country? I doubt it. Like, people still, again, and sorry to say, even like last time, the people they've put in can't even do research. So let's get that stuff. Okay, let's talk about that in more detail later. But basically, wokeism is there to stay for now, and it's not so easy to get rid of. Anyway, where
Yeah.
you and I were
How
actually
can
talking about
parents
is how to
prevent?
save. Yeah, how do parents prevent? So parents can't. Number one, you have to send them to college and university, and I think even if you don't send them to college and university, that's the whole problem. Let's say you send them for a business or a job or a something, right? That is not academics oriented. You send them to the uh, stock market. Okay. Now, even then, forget the stock market. Maybe that's the only place I think where people are non-woke. Actually, we found that one job. So financial firms and stuff. Although Tata's themselves funded this, so I don't know how that works. But it's still okay. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. Now, if we go to most professions, like I said, most unions are led by Marxists. If you, I remember that my grandfather told me that they had these professors address unions. Now, most of the workers sitting in the unions back then, factory laborers, they couldn't understand what the guy was saying. But the basic ideas, what these professors used to do is they used to, like Prabhat Patnaik, for example, they write a paper. Okay, they write a book or a paper that criticizes everything. Like recently, Prabhat Patnaik wrote a paper on how reducing GST rates is bad. Okay, because it is bad for the welfare of the poor people, right? Now, what happens is somebody like you and me will actually read the paper and deliberate on why this is a dumb point, stupid point. And you and I can even write a rebuttal against it using basic economics and basic common sense. But what typically happens is somebody will translate this into Bengali or Hindi or some simple language and say that, okay, this professor, who is a great professor, has said that your GST that Modi is reducing is actually bad for the country. And a lot of people take this shit seriously. Because like this Baku is saying that once I talked to a barber and he showed me CPM manifesto. Right?
Yeah, of course.
That's the whole point. That these barbers, a barber will not think twice about how dumb these points are. Right? But they will be brainwashed by people because these people are poor. So obviously, whoever sympathizes with the poor is a good person, and this sympathizer of the poor, like the girl in short hair going around and abusing the government all the time on YouTube, these people act like they care for these people, and these people maybe like that, and then they say that, okay, you know what happened, you know why you are poor, because Adani is taking all your wealth. So they'll tell them, and they'll start taking Adani and Ambani, right? And that is how shit works. So
I'll just
avoid
I'll just respond to Buddha Bhattacharya. Then add something onto this point, and then I'll ask for the questions. Buddha is saying, okay, if markets can solve every problem, why can't markets pay more and solve this problem? Because markets are not allowed to solve this problem. Secondly, the point that academic man was making here, that even random colleges will face the trickle down of wokeism today. How else has West Bengal become woke? And West Bengal was probably the home of wokeism in the ancient days. Not ancient days, I mean like 30 years back, 40 years back. I believe USA, if there is one specific group that can be blamed for USA's downfall today, it's Bengalis. Nobody else. By percentage per capita, Bengalis have done the biggest damage to USA in the history of USA. Now, wokeism, as we understand it today, that kind of wokeism is also getting trickled down into the hearts and minds of random Bengalis, even in Mofussil towns, even in villages. Not villages, not that much, but Mofussil towns definitely, tier 2, tier 3, and even Kolkata's Bengalis, who are from random bullshit colleges. Okay, okay, I can't take names, of course, but by bullshit colleges I mean those government colleges which are named after some great Bengali from 200 years back. I myself studied in such a college. So it used to be an incredibly good college 100 or 500 years back, but now it's a random bullshit college. So students from those colleges who will probably come out of that college with a graduation as general. Maybe his honors got fucked. Maybe he's a graduate in Sanskrit. I knew an electrician who was a Sanskrit graduate from my college. So all of those people also believe in every woke talking point. In Bengali, they don't even know it's called wokeism. It's infiltrating their
Exactly.
minds to that extent. And some of them come from CPM families, so it's understandable. And most of Trinamool comes from devout Hindu families. So then again, we get back to the point. So you are saying give up, parents. Dear parents, there's no way to prevent your kids from becoming commies
No,
and
no, no, no. I'm
when
not
they
saying
enter
that.
college.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
Bro, I'm not saying that. Okay. Now if I am a parent with a kid in college or university, I think that
Okay, let me just respond to Buddhadev archives. Okay, Buddhadev Bhattacharya archives. You are making that classic mistake of thinking capitalists are good, nice people. We are never making the argument that socialists are good people or bad people, or capitalists are good people or bad people. Everyone is looking after their own interests. It's the capitalists for whom you know what are their interests. You know that profit is their interest. For socialists, people don't understand that profit in the end is an interest for them as well. So if it doesn't benefit capitalists to have more capitalists, why will they fund research that encourages more market, etc., more free markets? So they are funding research that helps them. They get tax breaks for funding this hot shit. Yeah, go on.
Exactly. And not to mention that ये जो क्या बोलूं मैं वो that big hedge fund, that global hedge fund जो है that promotes all this
BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard.
BlackRock, they'll give you points on how woke your companies and stuff like that. So, like you said, that sometimes, for example, when that guy was wearing a bra and panty and protesting in presidency, there were commies who actually went against it. Old school commies who were like, no, this is not the way. But capitalists are bad. So their basic line of the thing is that business is bad, capitalists are bad, this is bad, that is bad, Hindu is bad, all that stuff. That basic point has been established. Now, is there no hope? I'm not saying there's no hope. I'm saying that if I have a child in university or college and I have to decide, if I have a way to decide, firstly, very difficult for parents to decide, but okay, even then, typically, I have seen what's happening is presidency Jadavpur type woke, like actual on your face woke places with ganja culture and stuff like that. Parents are moving away from these places. So that's one way. But even then, when they're going to St. Xavier's, let's say sociology department, they're still turning into woke people. I know a lot of St. Xavier's sociology people who are actually quite woke, who have decided not to marry, not to have kids, and usually these art subjects are full of girls. They're women.
Yeah, but
and
even
women
Bashanti Devi, Shama Prasad, Jogomaya, even they are producing woke kids only today.
They are producing
Bengalis. They don't even know. Yeah,
exactly. So even if you decide to send your child away from presidency or Jadavpur and to St. Xavier's or some other Ramakrishna Mission funded school or college or whatever, even then they are woke people.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I know this guy, the most disappointing person I've met in my life. He went to an RSS school, okay? So I thought, okay, that's great. So then he went to Rabindra Bharati University, okay? Once he went to Rabindra Bharati University, actually no, I'm getting Vishwabharati University, sorry. Vishwabharati University,
Okay.
He became a Naxalite sympathizer. Now, very interesting. He is a Brahmin who does Durga Puja every year, but he will abuse Brahmins. Okay. That's the kind of stuff that happens because the elites of these universities, of Vishwabharati and all government institutes and many private institutes, all of them are promoting anti-Hindu, anti-Brahmin culture.
I know a
Right.
sociology PhD from an elite university in Kolkata who does Hanuman Chalisa part every day and then writes papers on
Oh, yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
the state is to be blamed for the killing of Kashmiri Pandits.
Yes, yes. This person is a mutual friend. I know. So,
Hmm.
and this person is more staunch. Like I've never read the Hanuman Chalisa. Okay, this
Hmm.
person will read the Hanuman Chalisa every week, and she will have veg food on those days, and
Hmm.
whatever like fasting, वगैरह सब everything, and then
Hmm.
thesis में क्या लिखती है that कश्मीर में genocide चल रहा है Indian government से, and
Hmm.
Kashmiri Pandits were not oppressed by local Muslims and stuff.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it doesn't mean. So what does this point establish? That's the point you've been having on Twitter as well. That you can
Yeah,
read the Bhagavad Gita.
we pissed off a
Yeah,
retard. Yes, I muted him because I didn't want to get further pissed off and say something that will get the 295A on me. Although CGIs are of course immune from 295A, I think, because the stuff
yeah,
that
yeah.
Justice Gawai said is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life from a judge. But anyway, so why isn't teaching Gita to your kids going to be effective in this fight? Because Gita also has all the
Yes.
answers. Are the parents incompetent, or is it a problem with the translation, or are the the students themselves retarded, or their comic professors are just more intelligent than the parents? What's going on here? Why can't Gita save us here?
Okay. Here's the thing. The Bhagavad Gita is taught to us like a biblical text. Okay. We have to, if we are taught these texts, firstly, I'm not saying that the Bhagavad Gita is useless or the Mahabharata is useless. I'm not saying that. I learned a lot from these texts myself. Now, what I'm saying is that these texts are also supposed to be applicable philosophies, right? That is the difference between a ritualistic reading of these texts vis-a-vis a political understanding or philosophical understanding of these texts. You can memorize the Bhagavad Gita and not learn a thing, and all I need to do is read 2 pages of it and I can understand it fully. That's the difference, right? Now, this is the problem. This is the thing that we're getting at, that our scriptures, our texts, Hindu texts, even the core ones, right? Most people don't even read them. Number one. Number two is, even when they do read them, it does not guarantee that they will be able to beat wokeism using that, because our texts are not like the Quran or Bible, which explicitly prevent wokeism. If you think about it, wokeism or all kinds of leftism was basically a reaction to the church control, right? Church used to control all aspects of people's lives, and people said, okay, there should be a separation of church and state, and secularism is the way out. This happened in Europe. So the church would control every aspect of your life, and the state said no. And that's why leftists or anti-Christian stuff emerged. But that stuff trickled down into anti-Hindu stuff as well. Okay. Apart from that, also this is where you and I get a lot of flack. A lot of people even Pratik Borade got a lot of flack for talking good about Charlie Kirk the other day. Although Pratik Borade himself has said many times that Christians are united with left when they are abusing Hindus. Right?
Yeah,
We don't have any
it's a
friends
fact.
out there per se. I
Yep.
get that. I get that part.
Yeah.
Now the point
Yeah.
is that, having agreed to that, the point still remains that the leftism was an argument against Christianity and those kind of organized religions, right?
Yes.
Now, the thing is that that's also why Christianity and Islam are better equipped to deal with that. Why am I saying this? Because this is a thesis antithesis kind of thing. Like, if something is a reaction to another thing, then that other thing will also develop arguments against that reaction. Which is why you see either wokes can't debate with very conservative Christians and Jews or Muslims. They can't. Or resort to bullying them or killing them and stuff like that. But Hindus, because we don't have one God, we don't have one faith, we don't have one way of life, we don't have one ideology, we don't have one book, we are susceptible to ideas. Because in Hinduism is basically a civilizational construct, right? And if you look at it, there are even elements of socialism even within us. There are elements of everything within us. There's those elements of capitalism, socialism, there are elements of Charvak, there are elements of spirituality, there is Advaita, and all kinds of aspects, right? We even have Ardhanarishwar, we have encompassed everything in society, everything in the world. But that's the problem, that Hinduism, because we are so, what can I say, we are so open that anyone can walk in and take over. And typically, the more organized, the better organized, and the more radical groups are, the easier it is for them to take up a liberal space. Hinduism is a liberal space where all people can coexist in peace. And that's why we allow people who are basically radicals, leftists, to come in and take over our space, because we are not opposed to this explicitly. A radical cannot just walk into a mosque. A leftist cannot just walk into a church and start giving gyan like that. But they can walk into a temple and start giving gyan. That is why the CPIM sets up its stalls where it abuses religion every time during Durga Puja, but they never do it during Muharram and Christian or Christmas. Right? So one basic problem is this. Now, then where is the solution? How do Hindus save themselves, right? We were kind of skirting that topic ever since. Hindus can save themselves by arming them with better facts and better logic, like what Charlie Kirk did, like what Ben Shapiro does, what these kind of people do. Read more. Understand the crux, the basic germs of these issues. Right? Read even the left. You have to read the left to understand what crap they can come.
It can't happen without reading the left.
Yeah. And or read philosophers or thinkers we keep discussing and reading on this channel to counter your children's questions, to teach them these counters.
Yeah.
Everyone can't, people have to eventually, instead of being reactionary, we have to have our own ways of countering wokeism through theory, through facts, through knowledge, through ideology. Okay? And this ideology may sometimes even come from the left. That's the whole point. Right? And that's where I think that the parents must educate themselves in these arguments. You have to debate your kids. Only then, if you can't debate your kid in the house, some loser will not even allow them to debate your points in school and college, and then they will take over their brains.
Well,
so it's easier for outsiders to take over their brains.
That can't happen with Indian parents, right? Because verbal IQ is the biggest predicator of someone not being authoritarian, and verbal IQ is the biggest thing lacking in Indian parents. So they will be like, "Ye bhosri ke ye kya par raha hai? Ye sab galat hai," and that rebellious kid will further go against their parents. Maybe just to piss off their parents, they'll become commies. I think most non-Bengalis become commies that way. Bengali kids become commies because their parents are commies. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the previous. I would still contend that was the previous generation. Now millennials are becoming parents, right? Millennial parents can change the game. They can, if they want to. I believe that millennials are better friends to their kids nowadays. They are more clever in those senses. They are more savvy on the internet. They can understand the problems much better. Because if you see our parents' generation, then you can't expect them to have a clear-cut debate and all that. So we can't expect that. But for the sake of the future, I think millennial parents can be educated better to bring up their children. Right.
Now,
and that's the thing. Yeah.
I'll just make one fun fact. I'll just give one fun trivia and then offer my solution. Fun trivia is that one of the people in the mob who beat me up that day and filed false cases, etc., and the person who was even standing outside the police station and going on shouting random insane things, accusing me of doing insane things. You know who I'm talking about, of course. Even that
Yeah.
person, younger than me, has Madurga's picture in her cover pic, and the caption in her bio is that quote from Gita, "Yada yada hi dharmasya," etc. So that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
now, other than uh, uh, other than Narendra Modi doing counter Brahmin bhojan or stopping the bhojan of the Kami Brahmins, or if we believe M Shastri, things are turning around anyway. I think the one other way to counter this is exactly the way Charlie Kirk and Steven Crowder did it. And
Yeah.
I think the reason that BJP, the problem needs to be diagnosed first. I think it's being diagnosed only now. I don't think too many people in BJP are equipped to do it. There's one Tehsin Punawala here and there, or the other brother. I don't know who's the one in BJP, but
Shehzad
oh,
and
Shahzad,
Tehsin.
yeah. Yeah. So I see that as an absolute primary focus that has to be had by BJP, and push those kinds of people into colleges and universities to do those debates, and people who know what the arguments from that side will be, preferably former commies. You see, just a few days back, Shukanto Majumdar, the former state president of West Bengal, BJP president of West Bengal, went to, I think, NIT Durgapur or some other NIT, and was having a conversation with some students. It rolled into a debate, and he lost his patience already and got pissed off and stuff. So you see,
Yeah.
therefore, there's no point comparing people like Charlie Kirk with any random political activist that gets killed in the country. That's a very specific skill set that
Exactly.
Charlie Kirk had, and those kinds of people need to be pushed into presidency and JU, etc. Now, when we propose
तुम
these
मत
kinds of
करो.
events,
तुम मत करो. हाँ.
no. I have to. After funds, of course. That kind
Not
of
right
thing
now.
can't
Not
happen
right.
without funds and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Uh,
Not right now. Yeah.
no, there's no going to be clear right
And
now ever.
you need 5 or 10 bodyguards and stuff. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't do that. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
Now, thing that people always get wrong in these situations is that they think, why are you trying to convince the commies? They will never get convinced. Debating is never ever about convincing the person sitting opposite of you. Debating is a spectator sport. The people in the audience will get convinced based on how you come off
Yes. Yes.
in the debate. Okay,
Yes.
most people
Yes.
who Charlie Kirk debated are probably commies and far left wokes even today. It's the people in the audience who got convinced, and that's how he became more popular
Yes.
and more popular and more popular, to the point that at
Yes.
one point Charlie Kirk would also need a bunch of security. Oh, well, he should have had more security apparently, but in the last 2, 3, 4 years, he was gathering a giant crowd. He was attracting large crowds to see him debate.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was not the
Yeah.
case
Yeah.
when Steven Crowder first started it. Crowder first started it.
No. No.
He used to sit there with one table and two-man crew. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
convincing people, convincing the audience is the game here. Any other way, do you think?
No, I can see other ways is that not the Arnab Goswami Republican shit, Republic shit. I'm saying that
Hmm.
maybe channels like NDTV and all can start proper proper debate जैसे होता है ना, like you get some guy on the left and some guy on the right and actually give them talking points or a topic like we used to see in school. जो debate तुम बोल रहे हो, that is more like street fight in that sense.
Yeah.
I am saying make it more like a boxing match, which a referee and everything, right? वो भी अगर शुरू करते हैं तो it's still better. There is no, what the Republic and all have done is they bring that one Maulavi or some dude who has to have the dumbest views, and they get the dumbest guy in the BJP or something, and these people shout at each other. That doesn't help anyone. Okay. What we need is proper sets of debaters. At least that's what the government should focus on. They could have a debate channel. I don't know. Sometimes, the left wins, but most of the time, you have educated people who can win. People like Sanjeev Sanyal, people like you, people like many others. I don't know. Like, we have at least 10-15 guys who are good right now in India, right?
Yeah.
I think that those will also help, because even if you don't have a kind of Charlie Kirk or that guy, the Stephen Crowder situation,
Problem.
even then, people will get ideas. People will get knowledge, right?
No,
That
but
is
college students
also.
won't be watching Rajya Sabha TV for a debate between Sukant Majumdar
I get that.
and Tehsil
I get
Punawala.
that point.
It has to
But
be
do
in the
we have
colleges.
the setup? Do we have the setup, the manpower, the people who can do this? I mean, you saw what happened to Charlie Kirk. So, without at least, even if the gun thing you can control because this is India, let's say you do control the gun thing, but what is going to protect you physically in a college campus where 10 people can beat you up? Why would, let's say you hire me, okay, let's say nobody knows my identity, I just go and
Yeah.
talk to 5 random people and they disagree with me.
Yeah.
They can lynch me right there. Why the fuck should I do that?
No, then let's
Why
have
the
an
fuck
official
should I do
discussion
that?
about colleges and universities being absolute dens of crime. They are not just dens of drug addiction; they are dens of violent criminals. Then they should
But
be
in
treated
order
that
to
way.
prove that, how many people have to die to prove in Jadavpur and all that people ask these questions?
No. See, CCTV has to be shoved down their fucking throats immediately, and then one or two needs to be gotten beaten up, and then we have para-SF inside Jadavpur University. That's the only thing remaining,
But
because
bhai,
debates can't happen in Rajya Sabha TV.
wahi to problem. I agree with you on all these counts. You know I do. But the point here is that, let's say tomorrow you decide I will go into Jadavpur University and debate. And if they lynch you tomorrow, ki hobe tate? What's even going to happen? What is the net result, right? First, you have to
That we
ensure
get
at least 10,
para-SF inside
15.
JU then from the next day.
Yeah, you need to have 15 bouncers or at least 10 bouncers with you who know actual martial arts and shit, not just gym bros who have big biceps. Okay, you need real people who can protect you, who are good bodyguards, who can shove people in a different direction. Okay, or वैसे भी girls, as you know what the left does, they will shove some girl in there, and she will say that your bodyguards molested her. Okay,
Yeah.
so you will need men and women bodyguards, and then sit and ask them to do what Charlie Kirk did. But before that, you cannot. You simply cannot. Right? You'll just be dead, and we'll just have one less YouTuber to watch. Right?
No, then before
So,
that we will need CCTV cameras, because on camera it will be visible
we
that
need a change in
who
government
did
at
what.
least. Yeah, and the government needs to. देखो यही problem है कि government needs to have a proactive role in this to promote it. That's the whole fucking problem, right? And ये देखो, Artem's mind frame is saying we need more policing in India. Anyway, so the point is, even if the government cannot give it, even if let's say I am a BJP Karyakarta with a lot of money and power, I would do this. I would give you five bouncers, maybe 2 girls, three guys who know their shit, who know Krav Maga, MMA, whatever, and Taekwondo and stuff, and they would have to protect you, and you can do it. But till that setup is there, we can keep talking all we want. We can't change this. Max you can do is call a well-meaning leftist like you did, and maybe debate on certain issues. And uska clip cut ke shorts bana ke ye bana ke you can make it something. But for that you need actual well-meaning leftists who will actually come to your channel, and that number is also not a lot.
Yeah, well-meaning leftist is a pointless exercise. I just the goal
that
here
guy
is to
seems like a nice chap, except he's he's
he stopped replying to me. I sent him my attack video as well, my mob violence video as well. He didn't respond. He didn't even share it. He claims to be such a gigantic opposer of the government. He didn't share that. And then after that, since then, I started criticizing his guru, Rupam Islam as well. Since then, he has stopped debating me even in his comment section. I call him Chotipam now. So with me hurting his sentiments, especially after that day when I posted that why Chotipom is Chotipom, why this
Yeah.
rock legend is now a fucking pussy and can't even write decent rock music.
Yeah.
It's because of his. It's probably because his wife is a choti chata. Since then, he has stopped any contact with me. I'm persona non grata for him because he gets all
This is
his
the problem with
fossils coverage
Hindus.
gigs as a photographer and all.
This is the problem with Hindus. He is leaving a fellow Hindu in the lurch for a guy called Rupam Islam who sucks up to the present day. God knows what kind of government it is, but it is a government that he's opposed to. Exactly, and his idol is Rupam Islam, and I'm not saying because Rupam's name is Islam he's like that, but I'm saying that ultimately that's what happens. Like, there is no community sense among us, right? That's exactly why that girl we were talking about who does Hanuman Chalisa twice a week and fasts twice a week and still writes crap. These are people who are getting produced. Until the BJP takes this shit seriously, they think making a Tejasvi Surya debate makes a lot of difference. It doesn't. Tejasvi Surya doesn't even know how to debate, honestly speaking. I mean, he's a overrated guy. At least Shahzad Punawala tries, but I don't think Tejasvi or anyone is up to that caliber. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do what Charlie Kirk did. No matter what his ideology was, I have to agree that what Charlie Kirk did is very, very difficult to do.
That's
And
the
it's
only
not
way
easy
to convince the people in the colleges and universities. Their value systems are different. Their heroes are different. Their idols need to be broken in front of their fucking eyes. There's no other way to convince colleges and university students.
And that's why BJP will never be able to capture them. That's the reality. Perhaps if somebody wanders onto your channel, you can talk to them, maybe something. But other than that, it will always be Hindutva Vadis will always be made fun of. That is the reality.
So after if BJP wins in 2026 in Bengal, maybe ABVP will win JU out of the blue magically, or probably they won't. But even if they do, what will be, do you think, their distinct achievements other than being able to host Saraswati Puja and maybe bring Anand Ranganathan or J. Sai Deepak every now and then? That they will achieve, right? But they won't really be able to counter the professors or the highly educated commie social science PhDs. So
no, they can't. They can't do any of that. They will.
They'll invite J. Sai
They'll
Deepak
be
maybe, and there'll be a ruckus. That will be the end of it.
Yeah, that's it. But that'll be end. That'll be the end. Like, that won't achieve anything in the long run. In the long run. I don't see a lot of hope in there. It's just unless they are able to organize something along the lines of what you're talking about, maybe then we can have something. If ABVP guys, 10-20 guys can protect you and put you in a seat somewhere and ask you to do what Charlie Kirk did, maybe then it works. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. Now
But
this sounds like a self-promotion event right now, but I mean, people like you and Madam Political Scientist, of course, all the academics we have in our
देखो भाई सुनो तुम्हारे तरह ना मेरे को ना कोई सावरकर बनने का शौक नहीं है, ठीक है?
Oh yeah,
Savarkar
true.
died.
Yeah.
Savarkar died for Hindus and Hindus did shit for him. Okay, I am sorry. At least Charlie Kirk is remembered by Christians. Okay, no Hindu gives a shit about Savarkar. And मुझे सावरकर बनने का कोई शौक नहीं है. This community is full of backstabbers. I don't care. Anyway.
Retrowave, you are wrong a little. Charlie Kirk didn't do it out of his own volition. He raised millions of dollars. And secondly, he was not the pioneer in this. Steven Crowder was the pioneer in this. Then Ben Shapiro, who is still funded by that Fred Allen and that family. After that, Charlie Kirk comes into the scene. And then, therefore, people already understand that model and therefore fund him. That, this is a nice way to do it. So here's some money. Do it. So,
Bro, also you're the
yeah, go on.
the libertarian party nahi, wo to Timpool hai. The Republicans, they have billions of dollars to fund this. Like ये थोड़ा सा मैंने 0.01% उसको दे दिया, उससे ही उसका फंडिंग हो गया पूरा. ठीक है.
Yeah,
They got funded from the Republican PACs, PSCs, and all this stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You think ऐसे ही हो गया? I'm not saying that takes away from Charlie's achievements. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
But
of
I'm
course,
saying
yeah.
that किसी कोई तो बाप है ना उसके ऊपर. Somebody
Yeah, of
protected
course.
him. Somebody gave him some money.
He was not Savarkar. He was not Savarkar. He ended up being
No,
Savarkar.
he
Of course,
wasn't Savarkar.
he's a martyr. He was
Ah,
not a Savarkar
he
to
ended up
begin
being a
with.
martyr. But this is the tragedy that a man of the caliber of Savarkar has not been utilized by his own so-called ideology people, right? Right, like
Like Savarkar,
BJP. How much
FIR
has
खा रहा था.
BJP and exactly
Orthodox
how much
Hindus of
has
Pune were filing FIRs against Savarkar when he was alive.
yeah, and then his caste got lynched, right? And my point is that BJP is doing SC/ST Act and BJP is doing whatever. My point is this, that these people haven't even adopted Savarkar, any aspect of Savarkar. RSS, BJP, nobody. A thinker of his caliber. And what did he get? They still abuse him.
Just
They still, nobody says I am a Savarkar Wadi. Right? Nobody says that. I'm a Hindutva Wadi. Nobody can say that openly.
day before yesterday at night, a friend came to my house, and he's about 1 or 2 years younger than me. I've gotten into contact with him after about 20 years. So he was not in Kolkata for a while. Now he is. So he's dating a woke girl. I've not met her. I met her once while walking my dog. So we have fun conversations every now and then. We meet up at a local cafe. But then, day before yesterday, he was at my home, and we were not very sober, and the discussion shifted towards politics. So he was absolutely astounded to find out about Savarkar's views on caste, and he was astounded to find out about the views of Ambedkar on Muslims. Then he came to know that Savarkar was not from RSS. He was under the impression, like we all were at some point, not you maybe, that Savarkar is some evil guy. RSS is some evil organization who follows Savarkar, and today the evil Narendra Modi is run by that evil RSS. All of these facts are absolutely wrong. So I explained to him his rivalry with RSS, his vicious attack on RSS, but then how RSS is still a leaderless organization, therefore it survives. Hindu Mahasabha couldn't, and then he says, "Wait, so he's being misappropriated by the current." Yeah, we are back. Yes. So he said that so he's being misrepresented, misappropriated by the ruling dispensation. Then I said, yeah, kind of. They don't really believe in all of his views, probably none of his views, and they just need to pay some lip service to his fans, because after all they are kind of his allies, and at this point they are the best we have. So in the end, he asks, then I quoted some Nietzsche for him. Then he gets astounded by that as well, that how can a right-leaning guy in India read Nietzsche and stuff? Don't you put a tilak on your forehead and beat up Muslims on the roads? What kind of a right-winger are you? So he's surprised by all of this. He is surprised that I have a YouTube channel to discuss this. And in the end, he asks, so what political party do you support? So I said that, well, this party, and this is kind of the best we have. And he was absolutely blown away. Bishfarito chokku. His eyes were not closing for about 5 minutes. He had not met this kind of a person, and that is so sad, because Savarkar was practically.
You can also write a book. I think you can do something about this in a different way.
Yes. Yeah. That's not even an option anymore. That has to be done now.
Yeah. Why I got beaten up in my own house. Yeah.
Beate Mati and Chashma Dati. Yes.
So what I'm saying is, I think Hindu Vichardhara is trying to say something. I don't get it.
Wait,
My elder son
debate
is
this. Oh, she's probably saying that she debates her son.
oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, because
See, I told
she's very well read. No, she has read Sitaram Goel
you.
inside out. So she's a different breed.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this is the thing that you need.
Yeah.
मतलब ये these days you have to be a parent, you also have to be a friend, you have to be a right wing shill, you have to be a Savarkarite, you have to be you have to know AI and latest technology, you have to protect your kids from predators, you have to do everything. So being a parent right now is hard, right? No wonder people are giving up on it. But
I think
still the few people who are still going to be parents, they have a hard task ahead of them.
if not anything else, if not even Nietzsche, Dostoevsky, Dharampal, Desai Deepak, etc., if you are a non-left parent who doesn't want their kids to end up leftist, at least read Savarkar and Sitaram Goel as much as you can. At least these two people, they will save you. Okay, here's a question for you, academic man. I've heard that
Ask.
wokeism
I've
came about
heard
from
that.
the fall of Christian morality, and basically wokeism took its place. Will rise of Christianity destroy wokeism? Yeah, it will. It will destroy wokeism, but it will cause other problems for us. So there we don't have anything
It will also
really
destroy.
fun.
It sees us as a product of wokeism only, or a kind of woke adjacent. Hinduism is unique. We are not a conservative ideology per se. We don't tell our women to cover their faces. We don't tell people that uska dharam ye hai, usko jaake attack karo. We don't say all this stuff, right? So our ideology, our way of life is very different from Abrahamics, and that is why
The main difference
with
is
the right
slave morality, and master morality. Because all the groups we are talking about here, the counter groups, our opponents here, all of them come under the category of slave morality, including socialism, etc. We are talking
yes,
about therefore non-slave morality. Just read up on that.
yep,
That will,
yep.
I think, lead you to the right direction. Vinab is saying, I have a hunch that the age 24, 32 right now, when they will be parents and have kids, I think a lot will change in India. Their kids will be well read and versed with right wing politics. Possibly, because Desai Deepak, Anand Ranganathan, Sandeep Sanyal have raised the game to a large extent. Can't we push in the Hindutva ideology just like Islam was gradually pushed into East Bengal, periodically becoming more Puritan, like using Niranjan, not Allah? Yeah, with state Brahmin Bhojan, not without that.
वही तो
Okay then.
or create a new class of Brahmins.
Yeah. Thank you, academic
मतलब
man,
by
for sharing
Brahmin
the
I
life
don't mean
experience.
again somebody will
Yeah.
get angry.
Yeah.
By new Brahmins I mean new academics who are pro Hindu and stuff, right? So yeah.
Okay, let's see. IMP. Woke has infiltrated into Hindu territory and appropriate and misuse Hindu images, gods, Bharatanatyam, spirituality, and yoga. We need to not only redeem our territory but infiltrate theirs. How? Firstly, by showing to them that their idols are worth destruction, by destroying them in front of their eyes and them not being able to save them. Idol destruction, idol iconoclasm from us to them is the need of the hour. That I think is the foremost priority. Because in the end, these are all movements. Movements in the end are not mass movements, especially big, gigantic groups. Don't run on logic, they run on emotions. And the emotions are able to be gathered into one place because of a rallying point. That wait, this person is our hero, that philosopher is our hero. Show them that either their heroes were assholes or their heroes were in fact our people. Don't let them have any heroes. Stop rejecting people from our fold. Either make them irrelevant or take them into your fold. That is the absolute first and foremost priority. Okay. Thank you, academic man, for the fun discussion. Thanks a lot, guys, in the live chat. See you soon. Good night. Bye bye.
যদি সবাই ফিরে যায় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায় যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায় তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না চলো রে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর চালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে। যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।